Hello, everybody. So, they say that money makes the world go round. Not always, but in this day and age, it certainly seems to be the criteria, so to speak, that whenever there's an opportunity, money has to be made. They often say that money is the root of all evil as well, but only to the people who choose to do evil, I suppose, only profiteer from this. And that's kind of a little bit, well, profiteering is a little bit about what this channel is about. Because when we think about it, there are so many people in this day and age who grind, graft, work. They sweat their balls off. They literally work until they're in a state of collapse. And no sooner have they clocked out from work, have they drawn away their daily wage, and they can't actually do anything with it, because for every one shift that the average Joe has to work 8 hours, so roughly speaking 96 quid a person could draw away. You could probably hazard a guess that daily bills in terms of, mortgage, rent, gas, electric, on average, it could come up as nearly as much as £97 a day. So a working man can't exactly have much to cheer about, because it would mean having to work without stopping, or even so much thinking any other thought apart from how am I going to get through tomorrow. It's this whole feeling, and this sentiment can take many different forms, but it's the sort of thing that I have not only had a first-hand experience with myself, but it's the sort of thing that is written on so many people's faces. All some people want to do is, pay their bills, pay to keep alive, and hopefully have a little bit left over to actually, save towards a rainy day, or for something incredibly special. Because they say you can't put a price on something that's special. However, in this day and age, with fiscal interest rates, inflation set to catapult everything into the stratosphere, and in general, the products of such things only getting worse and worse. I remember when I was coming home from work at 6 o'clock this morning, and I just wanted to purchase just a light breakfast of a bacon and egg McMuffin from McDonald's and a large caramel flavoured latte. I found that the latte that I had no taste of caramel whatsoever, and that the McMuffin I had was extremely, uncharismatically disappointing. You don't even get ketchup as standard with your McMuffins anymore. And by the way, I bought it, paid for it. Well, when I say that, I paid the price for it. Total cost £10.18 for a meal, or a breakfast, I should say, that in terms of actual value, I would not pay £5 for. And maybe there's something to be said about something like that comes into effect, the actual value of things. They say if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. If you pay for substandard food, you get really, really, really substandard food. And a lot of this seems to boil down to what feels like a very genuine, but also a disturbing lack of respect for other people. If I pay 10 quid for a breakfast, I want ketchup with it. It was never explained before about why this was removed, or why all of a sudden that makes this whole meal valuable, or 2 quid more expensive than ever it used to be. 10 quid more expensive for something you don't get is not exactly a good way of doing business. But then again, I have once upon a time said previously that McDonald's is the sort of place you go to if you literally have no standards. And the only reason why I went at all is because I was starving hungry. I was on my way home anyway. It was a long shift, kind of boring in places. And sometimes you think with your stomach rather than your brain. And listen, it happens to the best of us. But when you stare at this sort of conundrum in the face, and actually it's the sort of thing you should realize that, guess what? Your money and your sense of worth should be worth just a little bit more than being told that you can't have ketchup with your breakfast. There are some things that are more important, more valuable. And over the course of this channel, over the course of the next couple of weeks, maybe even years, I not only want to be able to explore and investigate how to make just a little bit more money than what we're currently on, but also to instigate the real value of money. We all need money. And they say that labourers do deserve their wages. What labourers do not deserve, on the other hand, is the attitude of working, grafting, taking any sort of stick and abuse off people, and then to be told, guess what, it doesn't matter, because if you don't work harder than you're already doing, not only will you never get ahead in this world, not only will you be taxed to heaven, but even at the current rate right now, we will make things more expensive and less valuable. So if you think for an instant, things may be bad at present and they're only going to get worse, well, let me put it to you like this. Some people will choose to wallow and some people will choose to blame the government and stuff like that. I, on the other hand, have a very different opinion, a very different sort of attitude, and you guys may want to be able to note all of this down, because this might save you guys a lot of trouble in the future. Well, do something about it. I can't emphasize that point enough. Actually do something about your situation. Actually do something about, if you feel unhappy in your situation, do something about it. Just, do it before it might be too late. Because the longer this goes on, or the longer any sort of situation goes on, the harder it is to break out. Because people will fall into the rut in thinking, this is as good as it's ever going to get, we may as well stick to it. It's just about, opening your eyes and opening your ears just a little bit wider to the world around you. The world is not all as you see it. Neither is the rules whatever any people choose to make them. Why not make up your own rules? And you could certainly start by saying, guess what? I know fine well I can make more than what I'm doing at the moment. So we're just going to find a way of doing it. Even passively, there are ways of getting around it. For example, one of my major goals throughout 2027 is to make even as little as £1 a day passively. And this is something I'm going to be investigating and talking about in several videos, because I think there's going to be a fair bit of ideas floating about how to do it. But the point is that even as little as £1 a day is actually more significant than it sounds, because if I did that for every single day throughout 2027, that's 365 quid I could get, on the back of, doing pretty much not much. That's like nearly not going to work for nearly 4.5 days. And getting paid an extra 4.5 days in 1 year for doing nothing particularly that special, all of a sudden it sounds more interesting than it probably has any right to. So is the idea that why stop at £1? But let's one step at a time. So right now there is work to be done. Always more work.